So in the last videos, we have set up the indexer and search it. So now both are connected. Just for verification, we can run a search to make sure they both are connected. You have to run this search in the search it. Run it for last 15 minutes maybe, and you should see two hosts. Unfortunately, it is only one host, and let's see why it is saying that. And you see it says like unable to distribute peer named and so 8089. It says like peer is down. So how do we check that? Let's go to forwarding and resume settings and forwarding and distributed search. You have to go to distributed search and go to search peers. And here this might tell you like what is the issue. What is it saying is search its authentication credentials rejected by peers. Try adding the peer and last connect time is something failed out of. So when it was connected, it just connected now. It's 12th. Right? Sometimes this happens, like the credentials will be rejected. So this will happen. So now we have to go and check if this user name is existing, because sometimes the username might get deleted in the indexer. So let's go and check it in the indexer, and then you go to users. So this user is there, so there is no issue, right? So you see last login with this user is 29th of November. So it was last login that time. After that it didn't work it out. So now there are different ways of fixing this. First, what you can do is you can just disable and enable it. Sometimes that will work, that will clear the cache and it will work. So now let's see, it is replication initial. It says, let's see, let's wait. Yeah, again it is failing for 5 times. Okay, it is not working. We can do a quarantine and then we can check. So these are all the things you can just check it, like when you are not getting it. I'm unquarantining, refreshing it, and let's search one more time. Okay, it is still same. So there is no other way, we have to re-add the peers. So now I'm going to delete this. Okay, and what is the indexer IP? The indexer IP is, you can find out. Okay, you can click on the indexer. Where is the details tab? This tab is not coming. Okay, yeah, here. So in this one, you can take a private IP address. You can copy this. And let's go here and click on new search peer, https:// and the IP address :8089 and service admin. Start. Okay, replication is successful. Let's wait for some time. Sorry, replication is in progress. Yeah, successful. So now it is connected. Now let's go and check if the data is coming. Yeah, we are getting it here. So now we have searched and indexer both of the logs. Okay, so this is the first thing you have to fix it. Like if you're restarting or turning on, turning off the servers, you have to make sure this is working. Search and indexes are connected. Mostly in your production environment, this won't happen because the search and indexes will be running 24/7. So don't worry about that. But if it happens, so these things you have to delete it and re-add the search PS. So that is something you have to do. Now we have searched and indexes connected. Now let's go and connect universal forwarder with the indexer. Right, that's the third one. That's today's topic. So for that we have to log into universal forwarder first. Click on that and click on connect and take the SSH command and go to your git bash or command prompt, whatever you like, and navigate to the folder where you have that PEM file downloaded. Usually it will be in downloads because when you're downloading, but if you have it in a different place, please make sure you are in that directory and paste the SSH command, whatever you copied from the AWS console. And now it is logging in. Yes, now it is logged in. So here now we can open this document. This document you can find it in just below this video. In that test section you can find it. So now when it comes to the forwarder, right, mostly the forwarders will be installed on the client machines where the data gets originated. So we won't have access to it. So the data source team, let's say you are pulling data from Linux servers or like DB servers, that DB server team will do all this installation. So what you have to do is you have to provide them all these steps, whatever we are going to do now, you provide them. So they will have all root access by default because it's their servers, right? So they can do all these things when compared to the searcher indexer, which we are setting up completely. Universal forwarder is something your client team or data source team they will set up. So now give them this one, whatever I'm doing now, they will do all the steps. Okay, so don't worry about you will have a root access or not because it's them who is doing do it. So now for that, let's go log in as a root user, sudo su, and then user add Splunk. and group add Splunk already exists. That's fine. And make sure that user is credentials are created. For that, if you type ID Splunk, then it will give like what is the ID and what is the group ID and what are the groups it part of. So yeah, now we just created, it is working fine. And now we have to create a directory where the forwarder is getting installed. So make directory mkdir opt Splunk forwarder. Yeah, now it is created. Now let's change the ownership as well. Ownership of the Splunk forwarder. The ownership is changed. Then let's check the ownership if it is changed. Yeah, we see Splunk forwarder directory. It has a Splunk ownership, right? And now there is another thing. We have to install a wget package. So this will help us to download Splunk from the internet. So for that, you can copy paste the yum install wget. It takes time, sometimes, like depending on your bandwidth. Yeah. And then the root side of things is done, like admin side of work is done. So we created a user and we created a directory and we change the permission and now we install the required packages. Now the remaining steps we have to do it in the Splunk user as a Splunk user. So I'm clearing the chat and yeah, I'm logging in as a Splunk. You can copy paste this commands, but yeah, I would suggest you type it out just to show you this commands works. I'm just copy pasting it, but yeah, I would prefer you to type it, keeping side by side. And yeah, I'm became a Splunk user and I'm pasting, like navigating to the home Splunk folder, and you can execute this wget command. This wget command is a single command. So when you're copying, make sure you're copying the whole all 3 lines. In your screen, I'm not sure maybe it will be 2 lines or 3 lines. Make sure you copy everything as a single line, paste it, and then you can download. This is basically the command taken from the Splunk website. So we are in this lab, we are using 9.2.2, so Universal Forwarder. You can go to Splunk website, download Universal Forwarder. In that place, you can find the wget link. Whatever the version you like, whatever version you want, you can take the corresponding wget command. For now, let's stick to 9.2.2. And it got downloaded. And now let's see if it got downloaded. Just type ll. Yeah, so it is there. Package is there. Now let's open the tar, like let's extract the tar. So paste it. Yeah, it is getting extracted. Yeah, it is done. Make sure here also you copy like as a single line. If it is a multi-line, let me, yeah, I'm just editing this. In this you will find it, but yeah, to be frank, this is a one-line command. So don't get confused, because only when you give the last part like -c opt, then only it get extracted in a proper location. If you just give only this one, it will extract in a wrong place. Make sure you give -c opt at the end. This is capital C. Okay? Yeah. And then once it is extracted, let's navigate to Splunk bin. Okay. And then have to start the Splunk with accepting the license. And this is also a single line command. So let me just put it like this. Okay. Sorry, it doesn't work. That's fine. So here you copy the whole thing. And when you are pasting it, make sure you replace your password with whatever the text you want. Okay. Just copy and paste it. Sorry, I did not copy it. Okay. And I'm just giving admin 123, something like that. You can give anything, just giving something. Enter. So Splunk gets installed, when forwarder gets installed, and it is running now. It says, you see, it says done. And starting Splunk server D, everything is saying it is done. So forwarder is installed, right? If you want to check, like if it is properly running, you can use opt Splunk forwarder bin Splunk status command. Yeah, it says Splunk D is running, Splunk D helpers are running, something like that. Okay, so this means this is done. Now, after this post installation, so the same team, Linux team, they have to enable a boot start. Okay, so for that, what they can do is sudo, they can exit from the Splunk user and they can enable the boot start. So enabling a boot start, this command we have mentioned in the day two of day two documentation. You can go and check it if you want, but it's basically straightforward things. You have to allow, log in back to a root user and type opt Splunk forwarder bin Splunk enable boot start and hyphen user Splunk. This is important. The last one that is important. Let me just zoom in. Yeah, let me adjust this. Yeah, so this is important. opt Splunk forwarder bin Splunk enable boot start a user hyphen Splunk. That is important. So I'm just executing it. Splunk is currently running. Please stop it before running. Enable or bootstrap. Yeah, that's correct. So, and I have to stop the Splunk first. For that, I'm logging back to as a Splunk user, and I'm stopping the Splunk. Stop. Yeah, Splunk is getting stopped. Okay. Now again, I'm logging back to root user, executing the same command. Yes, you see, configured as a systemd managed services. So it works. Now they can log in back to, like, if you go to Splunk user, we can check whether the boot status enabled or not. You can copy this command. It's basically same command, just like a different words. And yeah, here you see init script is not configured to run as boot. That's fine. But here you see configured as a systemd managed service. So it is configured. Configured instead of saying not configured, it says configured. Or you can check with this using this command like ls-ll. Okay, let me see. Okay, I think we don't have access to it. I can log in as a root user and check. Okay, it's not there. Anyways, I think it will work. But yeah, in some OS it will work. Here it's not working. So in this, I think I don't have this enabled, I believe. That's fine. But still you can use the first command. Okay, this is the most commonly used command. That's okay. And we have to check what is the management port. Like, I know by default it is 8089, but we have to make sure that it is correctly like using that one. So for that, again, you log in as a Splunk user. I know, like, many times you are logging as a Splunk user, root user. This is only one time activity. So you have to know which command should be run as a which user. So here you can go as a Splunk user and paste it and run it. And then you can copy the paste the same command, show port. Yeah, you see Splunk D port 8089. Yeah, this is good. This is the default one. So we are okay with that. And yeah, so installation point of view, that is right done. And make sure that Splunk forward is running because we stopped it. So we have to run it. So because before you move proceed and do anything else, so make sure once you complete all these steps, at the end you check once if forwarder is running or not. Okay, see, that's what I said. It is not running. So we did so many things. So now let's start this forwarder. Yeah, you see, now it is asking authentication. You know why? Even I don't know why, because in the recent days they changed the procedure. We will, check and we will update you, but now we have a workaround. So if this kind of things happen, so you can log in back to as a root user, and then you can execute the same command, explain start command. Yeah, now it will get started. Yeah, it is started. Again, one more time, check if the Splunk is running, because that is very much important. It is running. Yeah. So now the installation is done, the configurations are done. So now what is the next step is we have to connect universal forwarder with the indexer, right? For that, step one, we have to, yeah, that also it is mentioned in the document. Step one, enable receiving on the indexer. For that, we can open the indexer UI. So this is indexer UI, and go to settings, forwarding and receiving, and click on receiving, configure receiving, and here you can add a port, which is by default you can add use a 9997. That's what commonly used. Yeah, so this is added, you see, successfully saved. So make sure that this is there in the indexer. Don't configure it in a search it. I did it many times configuring in search it. That's the reason we are keeping a banner here. So make sure you are configuring enable receiving on indexer, not on the search it. Okay, nice. No, indexer side configuration is done. Now in the universal forwarder side we have to configure. So what is the forwarders? Again, yeah, we have to connect, and in the universal forwarder, yeah, we have to log in as a Splunk user. Let's log in user, and then go to the forward etc system local directory, paste, yeah, and check what are the files we are having. We have only server.conf, so we have to create outputs.conf. So outputs.conf is the file which connects your universal forwarder with indexer, right? So for that we have to open outputs.conf. Vi command will help you to do that. So yeah, now it is open. So now it is a new file. So if you want to edit, click on I or insert button, and then you see we have a content here, right? You can copy paste this content, but before that what I would suggest you do is copy paste this content in a notepad and edit it properly, and then go and paste it here, right? Or if you're pro at the git bash or command lines, you can do it there, but I would suggest to keep it in notepad and do it, because I'm a little bit scared every time. Let me take my notepad and just copy this command and paste it here. and make sure you're giving one space in between all the stanzas. Yeah, so this is how it be. And you see here, everything is same, only the index or IP. This is a placeholder. So what does this mean? So our index is private IP. Okay, index is private IP. What is our index is private IP? Let's go to instances. A little bit slow. Okay, so this is indexer. Index is private IP. Yeah, copy this private IP and open your notepad. Here you can paste it. Make sure you are not disturbing any equal to, or you are not disturbing any this colon. That is important. Many times, like I do remove this colon, like when you are pasting, and it won't work. Yeah, just make sure this is IP address colon port, and here also dot double slash IP address colon 999. Please make sure that you are pasting it in the right format. Okay, it's a human error. Yeah. So now I can copy this, and again I can go back to git bash, like the command line, and then I can paste it. Right click and paste it. Okay, now it is done. So I'm saving escape colon WQ exclamatory. Yes, saved it. Again, I can do LL. So here you see outputs.conf is there. Do cat just to verify if it is working. Yeah. Now check the format once again to make sure that it is working. It is properly pasted. Now we are good to go. So now what is the next step? We have it in our document. Yeah. Once it is done, so you go to okay, your login as a root user, because forwarder need to be restarted as a root user, and you can say, yeah, you can simply say exit, and yeah, that will also come to a root user, and then like go to a forwarder bin and do a restart. It's getting restarted. Yeah, it is restarted. And again, one more time, check if the Splunk is running. Okay, Splunk is running. So it is running. So forwarder side configuration is done. Indexer side is done. Forwarder side is done. Now, ideally, we should have the logs from the search head or indexer. Okay. Now, let me take this index and run it on indexer first. Okay. Basically, ideally, you should run it on the search head, but just to make sure we are getting everything, I'm running it on indexer. Skip to when in your production you won't have access to indexer UI, so that's a different story. Okay, so yeah, see, in indexer we are getting this random IP again. So we did not set the host name, so that's the reason here. Ideally we should leave it as it is. In Splunk searched in indexer we will set it because we need to know where it is coming. So in universal forwarder, don't set it because that will take the host name itself. So now by seeing this we can understand, okay, this data is coming from this particular a server. Because if it is only one universal forwarder, not an issue. But if there are thousands of universal forwarder, you cannot name everything universal forwarder 1, 2, 3. That's not the case. That should not be it. So for universal forwarder, don't set any host name, even on the whole server level or host level. Whatever they are having, keep it as it is. Okay. And yeah, in indexer it is coming. We are able to see. And in search head, let's do the same thing. I think already there. Let me refresh it. Yeah. So now we can see indexer, search it, and this is the forwarder one. If you are, if you don't know the number, I mean IP address, you can click on that particular address and you see the path OPT Splunk forwarder. So this is also one of the validation that this is a forwarder. Okay. Sometimes even the search indexer will have IP address in its name. But yeah, now what this shows is it is connected. The forwarder is connected and the logs are flowing through the system. So that's it for this video.